guess I'll just go like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey guys! Welcome back to the Real Deal Podcast. It's been a little bit since I've been here, but I'm back. At least I'm back, you know. Today I will be joining with...
That caught me off guard. I'm so sorry.
It's
Abby.
fine. Abby.
I'm Avery.
Avery. And today we'll be talking about the aspects of true crime. Literally any true crime that we'll be talking about today. Honestly, the past few weeks or so, or honestly, it's been years for me, I've gotten into true crime and knowing about serial killers' history and just where they're at now. I don't know, just how everything has happened in history and how laws were changed. So guys, how are we doing?
Good. Really good.
Good.
And it's kind of ironic because I'm doing a presentation on serial killers for my feminist theory class. Shout out WGS 410. I'm presenting tomorrow. But it's kind of going over how serial killers have been romanticized, like Ted Bundy. He uses charm and wit to kind of run from the law for a long time. Mm-hmm. Or these new shows like Dahmer on Netflix and the one with, he played Ted Bundy.
Zac Efron.
Yes, thank you, Zac Efron.
Oh, yeah,
how
that's
people
right.
are literally making thirst trap edits on TikTok.
Literally.
Using those shows. So it's a very interesting topic to me, at least.
Cool, guys. All right, so my first question for you guys on this topic is, have you guys watched any type of true crime at some point in your lives? What have you guys watched?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Netflix stuff, the tapes, John Wayne Gacy,
Yeah.
Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy. Me and my roommate, our other roommate, fun fact, Abby and I are roommates, but we had another one named Maddie. We watch true crime stuff every April. It's like a clockwork. I don't know why, but April, May, I'm oh, let's watch true crime stuff.
Yeah. For me, at least, I've the Netflix clips I have too, but I've mainly watched a lot of YouTube videos, and honestly, I've done a lot of Wikipedia searches too. Shout out Wikipedia. I've just been YouTube videoing people, and I watched all these free documentaries about the Night Stalker. If you guys have ever heard of him, he was a really famous case at the time in the 80s, and just his story was just really scary. And at night, it just makes me feel scared to sleep at night.
Also, don't look up pictures of him. He's frightening.
Or don't look at the graphic images too.
Yeah, but oh my God, he's scary.
Even looking at these people, pretty much most of any type of serial killers, they look very deceiving.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the thing that keeps me up at night is that these are human beings.
Yeah.
Human beings are doing these things, and I guess there's an absence of morality.
Yeah.
I don't know. It irks me.
No, me too.
So I am victim to the having no internet restrictions as a kid. So, and having a smartphone and stuff. So I think I stumbled onto true crime maybe a little too early in my life. But I have been partial to the true crime people on YouTube who will sit and debrief about their true crime interests. I don't like to use that word, but
right.
Cases that they find interesting or people recommend them and then they sit and talk about it. Bailey Sarian.
Yes.
It's one of my faves.
Yeah, we had a kick on that earlier this year.
I love her.
Nice.
But she's kind of controversial because of the whole ethical thing of should we be talking about true crime like this? Should it where does the line get drawn between oh, it's news or it's educational to I'm using someone else's hardships for entertainment.
Right. And I feel the victims never get brought up.
Yeah,
it's
they
always
really don't.
The serial killer.
Yeah, they never they never get brought up in any of the attention needed, even though they were the ones who suffered the most.
Right.
Right, and he didn't.
Right, and it's so sad because actually I think it was the Dahmer series on Netflix, the victims' families weren't even notified.
Yeah.
They didn't even get a cut. They didn't see any money from that. So they just had to watch that get blown up on basically all social media platforms.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't watched if you guys haven't seen the Dahmer series that came out a year or so ago, please do so. It was honestly kind of a sad show, and it was just really real to see the actor Evan, what's his name?
Peters.
Evan Peters, yeah. He did a really good job playing that character, so I encourage you guys to check it out.
Oh yeah.
If you haven't, it's a really good show.
Yeah.
So is there a certain show or podcast you guys have been watching? Do you guys prefer any type of platform?
I think if they
any show.
previous mentioned like Netflix. I don't know why. I just feel like they have the best stuff. And I'm not personally like a podcast list. Ironic, I know. But a true crime podcast. That's not my thing. I like visually watching
Like,
something.
okay, getting
Like
in more
the
depth
case
of that.
files and the police reports and all that stuff. I like seeing all of it.
Cool. I think just getting in more depth of that. I started becoming a podcast listener. I've been listening to like the Murder Diaries, I think is what it's called. And every time I go on a drive, every time I travel for work, or just literally like anywhere in general, I stop whatever I'm doing and I listen to that, because it's just the two co-hosts they just have really soothing voice, and they have everything all laid out for podcasts, which is like something that you should definitely do for these, just so they're like well organized. But just hearing their stories on like how descriptive those past cases were that we just have never heard of.
Right.
These low profile killers, like, they have to be known, they have to be stopped. Like these people are missing. They need more recognition, you know, from like the 90s and like so on. Like they need to be more descriptive about like how we can be able to track this person down.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, pretty much just like research is what we need to work on more in this generation of, you know, killers and
Absolutely.
missing younger people all over worldwide. So I guess getting into that, right? Low profile people, serial killers. Any serial killer you guys have researched in your past or found interesting?
What was his name? Oh my god. Hold on.
I'll help you.
H.H. Holmes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that the guy with the like house? You know what I'm talking about?
I'm not sure.
Ed
I haven't
Gein, I
read
don't
up
know.
on him
There was a
lot.
guy, and I think it's H.H. Holmes, but I could be wrong.
Guess it's
Sorry. But he had like, I think, hotel, because the American Horror Story seasons are like compiled of a bunch of different things put into like one theme. So like the season Hotel, I think is loosely based off of some of his practices, but he like, I think
That's what
it's
he
that guy.
looks
He
like.
had like
If it's anything like the show.
The mustache.
he had like
Yep.
murder
Hotel.
hotel.
Yep.
Yeah, where he would like, he built like a maze, I guess, in his own like house or like hotel, and would rent it out to people, and there would be like doors that led to nowhere. There would be like trap rooms.
Yeah.
That's terrifying, to go into a hotel and then not be able to get out. What?
Right.
That is terrifying.
Hey, what?
What are you trying to get out of this? Like, that's just too far, too top of the line.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my goodness.
So, that's one of my hyper fixations, because what has to go through your head to think,
Yeah.
like, not only am I gonna kill people, but I'm gonna basically play Mousetrap the board game in real life. with
Yeah.
them.
I get that. That makes
So-
sense.
Yeah.
Jeez. People.
Yeah. I mean, I talked about him a lot. Jeffrey Dahmer. That's a big one.
Yeah, he was pretty well known.
I've done multiple projects on him. Well, it's a crazy story, you know, like the whole cannibalism thing. And,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Just him being abandoned as a child, I think looking at it from like a social worker point of view, just the abandonment, the social awkwardness, and then also his crimes being released, and that kind of being a platform for people to kind of predatorize homosexuality. Like there's just so many things that go into this case that interest me. So yeah.
Cool. I feel like a lot of that had to do with like his parents like being
Yeah.
divorced. I feel like that was the biggest factor.
Oh,
And
yeah.
his dad, I think, was a chemist as well.
Yep.
And I saw My Friend Dahmer with Ross Lynch. If you guys haven't seen that, you guys need to check it out. It's like
yeah.
a really realistic movie, and seeing a former Disney star playing a serial killer is just bizarre. So it's
Well,
like,
him and Zac Efron.
yeah, that's true.
Come on, guys. High
All these
School
people.
Musical, Lost in an Alley, and now they're playing these roles.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah. I've been watching this YouTube channel. I think you guys might like it. It's called Death Row Executions, where I've been focusing more on these guys who were sent to death row after killing, because I mean, you get sent to death row for killing people. And this guy, he was known as the Coast to Coast Killer. His name was Tommy Linsells. He would travel around like the West Coast and the Midwest, and I don't know his like full-on background, but I think he would move there just to kill people. and just because he needs to live with his cousins and stuff, and like, yeah, he did a lot of like, I can't even count. I think he killed about like 50 people, but I could be wrong because it's been a long time since I researched him. But I think,
Oh my god, I'm
you know,
traveling for work. And then he goes off and does that. That is
he,
crazy.
like I said, I don't know why he would travel. I mean, you guys can look him up on Wikipedia since he's like on there. But dude's crazy.
Sounds like it.
So, yeah. Anyway, so let's talk about some different platforms. I think we've pretty much already discussed that because, you know, podcasts are kind of like,
Right.
Some people
Right.
love hearing podcasts and stuff. But let's get into what interests you guys about true crime and stuff. So, like, what got you guys into the zone of researching and getting to know more knowledge about true crime?
I think the main fueling point was like disbelief in its purest form. Like, why would someone do that? What kind of keeps them coming back for more? Yeah, just like, I can't believe a human being can do that and like stay okay. Well, they're not okay, but like stay composed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think for me, so I am really into psychology, and I studied it for a while. Shout out BSU Psych Department.
Shout out.
Shit. But also, I also really like history, and so I think part of it is like I'm just really interested in learning about different time periods, and like crime in different time periods is also a huge thing historically. Like all those famous serial killers are like around the 70s and 80s, or like how easy it used to be to get away with like really big crimes because historically you didn't have the technology to get caught, basically. So like that stuff has always interested me. Obviously, yeah, and the whole like why did someone do what they do, it's just interesting. But then also I think as I've gotten older, I've become a really big like mental health advocate.
Yeah.
And learning that so many lives would be like saved if we cared more about people's mental health or like picked up on red flags. So it's like it's almost frustrating. It's like I'm obsessed with like being frustrated at faults of like past like police departments or like past like even school faculty being like, well, they gave me a lot of really red flags when they were a kid, but I just didn't say anything about it. Like that stuff. Like I'm fascinated with just watching that and being like, hey, what? So
Yeah. I think a lot of that also has to do with their family background history, because I mean that's just how they're originated, right? It's just how they were raised by their parents, most likely from a drunken father, like a really bad, toxic, abusive divorce or something, and just how abandonment too. Like I've read this article about this one guy. He was literally left on the street at 2 years old. Like I don't know what happened behind that, but his parents definitely just abandoned him on the street and almost ran him over from their cars. Like it was just terrible.
Oh my.
And like no one did anything to stop it because like his family just wasn't there.
And
So
I always say it, like, everybody has the capability to be parents, but not everybody should.
not everybody should.
Right.
At no matter how old you are, it's just like it's a big commitment.
Right.
You did that, so it's your responsibility to make sure that your children
You know what you're getting yourself into.
exactly
Yeah.
making sure that they know what they're doing
Right.
as well as they get older. So anywho, anything else you guys want to add before we move on to the next? Cool. Moving forward, so we're coming into the entertainment industry of crime, right? So are you guys ready for this?
go on.
So,
All right. Do you guys prefer like documentary style formatting of crimes, getting to know their background history and stuff?
absolutely.
So pretty much that. The other choice was just like short, brief videos on who they were and stuff.
I think it depends on A, my mood.
Yeah.
But B, just like what I'm interested at the time, or like why I'm interested in the case. So like if I want to learn about the person per se, I don't think I need a full-fledged documentary about, hey, this person was an idiot and killed a lot of people.
You gotta break it down.
Yeah, but like if I want to learn like actually like, okay, what happened to all these people, like the story around it, then I definitely like documentaries and stuff like that.
Right.
I agree. If I'm gonna dive in like hardcore. Like I grew up on documentaries
Yeah.
nature, ocean, crime, anything really. And I find myself stumbling upon true crime TikTok, and I always have to search for part 2 or part 3. So like if it's just all there, that's my preferred method of watching.
Okay. I agree with you guys. Documentary styles just have been huge in the industry, and like getting to break down like a lot of information that they've gone through in their lifetime, and just like getting to see interviews of people who have been involved, like detectives who were there for the case, or just like even family if they want to be involved. It's so cool to see all these people and getting to hear what they think about like getting to meet him in school and stuff, or just anybody.
Right.
And it's just like, you know, where they're from. It's like, you know, it's a lot of footage to do, and I love like producing documentary. I love like, you know, breaking those down piece by piece and like getting to know more research, almost like journalism in a way.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty much what it is. And just like getting to like dig deeper into like, I don't know, you can even like see unrevealed like crime scene photos and just
Absolutely,
put them
yeah.
in depending on like what company you want to release. It's like Netflix is really good for you know, like what you were
I
talking
like
about,
that. Yeah, I like Netflix.
those clips, like I don't know, like a 3-part documentary series, like those are nice.
Absolutely.
So all in one for me, at least, that's just my opinion. I like everything all in one. No matter if it's like a 2-hour movie, I don't care. It's pretty good. So is there like a line between informative storytelling and sensationalism in true crime media?
So I'm like so passionate about this topic because do you guys know about the Slender Man case?
I think I do, yeah.
So
Slightly.
it was a real case, so true crime. These 2 girls got really into Slender Man and like killed their best friend. They did not kill her. They almost killed her. She didn't die, but like they tried to kill their best friend because Slender Man told them to. And there was this whole thing about like kids hurting people, and that's a real case that actually happened. But I watched a movie on it, and it wasn't a documentary. It was like a based on a true story movie, and they basically rewrote the entire story that the girl that they tried to kill was actually like evil, and that Slender Man was like this real thing that really told them to do it. Like they basically rewrote the story from the 2 real girls' perspective.
Yeah.
That they tried to kill, or that they were doing the killing.
Right.
It was from their perspective. And I thought that was such an awful message to say and write and put out, especially because it was so obvious that it was based off of that case. Like, they didn't even try. I think it might have even said, like, based on a true story. And so I think, like, we really need to be careful with that because, A, that case was, like, relatively recent. Like, I
Right.
remember it happening when I was a kid and hearing about it. And also, you demonize kids who are, like, fans of things like that, that, because Slender Man's not real, obviously. It was...
No.
What?
And
It's real? What?
they made, and it's like, there are kids that are into stuff like that, like, Slender Man's kind of its own thing, but, like, into,
Yeah.
like, horror games or stuff like that, and then you're demonizing those kids, and also, you just need to be careful.
Yeah, because you just don't know what you're going to get yourself into with that. It's so unpredictable.
Yeah. I think social media, even having it have such a force here and now, like there's TikTok edits, like I mentioned before, literal TikTok edits with like music and effects with Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy. Like, it's concerning.
Yeah.
And there's tweets out there with obscenities. It's crazy.
I bet it is.
Look at it at your own risk, I guess.
Yeah, because it's just not a lot of people like release that information, so you just gotta like also be mindful that whatever you see, some people are just very sensitive with that stuff. Anywho, I think it's about time to wrap up for this show. Thank you guys for being on today.
Thank you for having us.
And as always, guys, watch this in the bathroom, watch this in the living room, watch this while you're eating. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And I'll see you guys hopefully next week for another episode. Have a great day.
Follow us on TikTok.
Exactly. Please do.